guys, what you're looking at is a very helpful way of identifying those key data assets within your organization. And this is also very helpful as it relates to conducting your risk assessment when developing, for example, a cybersecurity strategy or a cybersecurity roadmap within an organization. And this is the reason why I say this is very effective. There are so many assets, there are so many data points, systems within your network, within your business. And at times you might have difficulties, challenges in terms of identifying those that are very important as it relates to key data assets to that organization. Bearing in mind that not all assets within an organization are actually business assets. So a very easy way of doing this is actually to work, for example, looking at this example, let's say the objectives of the business or this organization is to, for example, this could be, for example, to develop APIs for this organization, or it could be to build the best best widgets in this case. So that's the main objective, the business objectives of this organization. So once you identify the business objectives, then you need to look at what are those systems, what are those processes that actually help in meeting the objectives of the organization. So I hope that you see that you understand where it is that we're actually going. So this actually narrows the scope of trying to identify all of those assets within the organization that need to be protected from a cybersecurity risk perspective. So let's work with this. So this is our business objectives. Then the next aim is to look at what are those critical information that are required to support this particular widget or this particular API. What are those data that are required for this to actually work? So you look at those critical information. So in this case, we're looking at customer data, financial data. That's customer. We have our, in this case, it says secret source process, necessary correspondence. This could be anything within your organization. These are just examples. The next step is to say, where does all this data actually resides? So in this case, your system, or what systems or applications or platforms that actually stores this information that is required to produce these APIs or widgets. So in this case, your customer data resides on your CRM system. Also within your cloud marketing system, you also have your financial data being stored in your SAP, and your secret sauce in this case being stored in your wiki site internally. Your correspondence information being stored on your file server. So the next question is, now that you have the API or the widgets, the necessary information that is required for this particular objective, the systems that actually store all of this information, the next question is, on what physical or virtual devices, and this could be within on-premise or in the cloud or a hybrid environment, where it is that all of this information actually stores, or these systems or applications. So in this case, you recognize that your CRM actually resides on your server A. These are the components, and this could be a virtualized environment. It's also reside on server B, and it also is distributed to your NAS. So your SAP information is also stored on server A, in this case, server B, and a portion of it is stored on server C, and your wiki reside on server D, and your file server reside on your NAS and also your file server. So immediately you recognize that, let's say you had a number of additional applications or physical devices within the organization, but based on this objective, and that is to develop your best widgets or APIs, whichever it is, then you would have identified, you would have narrowed the scope, and you will be able to know, say, hey, this is, or these are the systems that I need to narrow on, or to focus on my attention in terms of protecting, in terms of setting up the necessary controls. But very important is the fact that having identified this system, then you would now look at all of those risks, cybersecurity risks that are associated with these systems in terms of actually what could go wrong. Look, what are the vulnerabilities that could exist? The various ways in which this system could be breached, and all of these things you could now take into consideration to put into perspective to actually implement the necessary measures that are required to protect these systems. So very important is starting with your business objectives, looking at those critical information, where it is that the critical information resides in terms of what applications, and where it is that these applications actually reside, whether virtually or physically. So I definitely hope that you found this very helpful as part of identifying your key data assets critical for risk assessment.